One of the first incident or the miracle that I remember before even joining to Bhagwan's college, we used to have bhajan at home every evening. One evening bhajan was going on. I can see many of the devotees here who were little children at that time. They all used to come to our bhajan, and then we hear a loud banging from the behind. And when I opened up, there was a family who were like neighbors staying behind us. And that auntie was standing there with nose bleeding and a black eye with a couple of her children. What had happened is that family, the father of those children, had a very bad habit of drinking. And so much so that the children who were of my age, they would come to play with us, but just before the sunset, the two children, they had to run to comb around the entire township where his father would be lying on a roadside, so that they could pick him up, drunk, pick him up and bring him home. And after about 1 or 2 hours, we would hear a lot of beatings, a lot of cries of the children. We used to be afraid to go to that family, that house. So we had that kind of a picture about that family. So when we hear that, the banging, and when we opened up, that auntie was in that condition, we welcomed them in. And then the auntie cried out and said, "I don't want to go back to my home." And then, I don't know what happened to my father. He just pulled out one of the photograph of Swami from the altar and gave it to him. And he told, "Go with Swami to your house. Nothing will happen." She took that photograph, and when I was about to leave, Father told, "Ask your husband to come and meet me tomorrow morning." We were little children, we were very curious. So when auntie left to her house, we were kind of, putting our ears to the windows. Will we hear any more noises? There was pin drop silence. Next day morning by 6:30, that uncle was at our home. Father takes out Satyam Sundaram and gives it to him and tells him, "You read this, then we will talk." 12 o'clock, there used to be a lunch time. Father comes back. Uncle is standing there. He has already finished first part. And he asks, "Give me the second part." Satyam Sundaram, second part, Father gives. Then the uncle leaves. Then by the time 4 o'clock, Father has come back. Uncle is at our home. He has finished the second part as well. Father gives the third part. The uncle goes back. By evening that night or the next day morning, he has finished all the 4 volumes of Satyam Sundaram, which was written by Professor and Custody. The next day morning when he is at home, he asks my father, "Can we go to Puttaparthi?" And mind you, 25 years he had been drinking. And that entire evening, the moment he touched the book of Satyam Sundaram, he has totally forgotten about that drinking. Then he goes, and he had not seen Bhagwan. He had not seen Bhagwan. That is the power of the story of our Lord. It doesn't matter whether we have seen Bhagwan personally, physically or not. His story, his words have got equal power. Father brings him, and they both come to Puttaparthi. And then they had come, actually, they had planned for about 7 days. But they continued to stay for about 10 days. And in that 10 days, mind you, no withdrawal symptoms of that uncle, right? And he continued staying there. He never left the darshan ground. Whenever they asked him to come out, he had to just move out, and he just went to the canteen only for food. And he spent this entire 10 days sitting in front of the mandir. And that transformation there was a big transformation that happened, and then he came back. The entire family had been changed just by reading the story of our Lord.